1692, Bridget Bishop has been accused of sundry acts of witchcraft.
Salem, a city cloaked in grim history and ghost stories, sparked by an unpleasant era in our country's past.
In 1692, there were 19 innocent men and women who were executed for witchcraft. They were pulled from their families, put into this horrible witch dungeon, and then they were hanged publicly. So that's going to leave a imprint on a location. I'm sorry, it's going to.
Sam Baltrusis, author of Ghosts of Salem.
Anywhere you go, there's a ghost story associated with a building in Salem,
including the Charter Street burial ground.
This area is known as a very haunted spot in Salem, Massachusetts. In fact, there's a report of a woman, a lady in white, that appears right by the Mary Corey grave. Mary Corey was the second wife to Giles Corey. He was a gentleman who was pressed to death over a 2-day period.
The gruesome execution tainted the town, and the energy left from it lurked centuries later, says Baltrusis.
If you were pressed to death over a 2-day period, would you stay?
Feet from the burial grounds, abutting the Salem Witch Memorial, stands a house where eerie entities may still reside.
Right behind me is the house known as the Samuel Pickman House, and it dates back to the 1600s. Someone was taking photos in the windows, and they spotted what looked like a kind of a ghostly face peeking out of the window. So people say that there's like a kind of a negative energy associated with that house.
More negative energy makes Baltrusis uneasy on nearby Essex Street. He claims something sinister was lurking in Wicked Good Books.
I looked through the window and I saw what looked like a shadow figure. Now, shadow figures have been spotted up and down Essex Street, so the different businesses have seen or have reported seeing shadow figures. Shadow figures not good. Shadow figure signifies something that's been conjured.
Wicked Good Books owner Denise Kent doesn't feel uneasy in her store, but is it haunted?
This building itself is about 200 years old, and in this historic city where some horrible things happen, I would say, what do you think?
Nothing peculiar in the bookstore itself. However, a trip down to the basement does reveal an oddity. Kent says these are sealed off tunnels.
That's a tunnel right there, underneath one of the fireplaces.
The bookstore and basement got the attention of paranormal investigators, says Kent. She says that one of them felt a warm, welcoming presence. However, the sensations shifted.
He felt hands around his neck. I've never had that sensation.
Perhaps the investigators wore out their welcome? Mischief is another way spirits communicate, or so says Baltrusis, based on an encounter he claims he's had with the ghost of Bridget Bishop, the first woman hanged for witchcraft in 1692.
When I first started giving tours, I was told that this was where her tavern was. I said, oh, she was a tavern owner. Well, while I was giving the tour, an apple mysteriously rolled from the corner and rolled up to me. Now, as you can see, there are no apple trees here. I found out later that this actually was Bridget Bishop's apple orchard. So she was letting me know that I got the information incorrect.
Sneaky spirits may also be at play close by, inside Salem's witch house.
I myself, just last week, saw the bed warmers in the 2 bedrooms on 2 different days just start circling on their own. There was no air conditioning flowing on it. There weren't people around stepping on any of the boards strange. They just started circling. I was just like, okay, hi. You know, if you're here, great. We'll share the space.
But wait, there's more.
One of the guides has seen a door open and close by itself. Someone else was here alone at night, and several of the pictures fell off the wall at the same time.
There is a perception the house was home to witches. To the contrary, says Marshall.
It's the 17th century home of Jonathan Corwin, one of the judges during the witch trials.
Marshall says it's unlikely that the ghosts of the witch trials haunt this house. Rather, she says it's the spirits of a different tragedy that reside here.
Elizabeth Corwin gave birth to 4 children in her first marriage, and then when she married Jonathan, here in this house, she gave birth to 10 more. So 14 total, but only 4 of those survived to adulthood. There was a lot of grief and sorrow here because she lost 10 children. Much of that would be absorbed by the walls.
10 Federal Street appears to be a standard office building, but something wicked may linger deep in the foundation.
This building is on the site of what would have been the Salem jail in 1692. The jail in 1692 was the place where a lot of the victims from the Salem witch trials were either held temporarily or jailed here
and then also held before their execution dates.
After the witch trials, the sprawling property evolved. The jail replaced by a private home. That home later demolished to build the present-day structure. Portions of the old dungeons were discovered deep in the ground.
I mean, I can see where people would say they feel paranormal energy. We tend to focus obviously more on the history, but I do understand that this was a place where some people were very upset about the fact that they were being accused of something they didn't do.
Whether you're a believer in the supernatural or a skeptic, our guides say it's tough to deny the intrigue of Salem's haunted stories.
Salem is a perfect example of a city embracing its darker history.